For a lot of us, live entertainment is about as good as it gets.
Kerr with a shot. Oh, I say that's incredible!
Whether it's sport, music, comedy or theatre, tickets are often in high demand, and there are some out there who take advantage of this.
If someone's going to buy a ticket and then go and resell it and they're going to make a whole lot of profit from it, none of that extra money that you're paying for the ticket is going to the artist.
I actually recently went to the Oasis concert and it was quite the war getting tickets.
Metallica came down not too long ago. That was pretty hard to get tickets for.
Gather Round is pretty big, and like Barnum's Footy as well.
People do it just so they can make as much money as they can. That means that some people that would really enjoy going actually miss out because they can't afford it.
Using bots to instantly buy the tickets up, it's just, horrible. It's very unfair because the normal person doesn't really have that access to that stuff.
People get pretty desperate.
I do reckon it's a bit cheeky at times.
Ticket scalping, which is buying tickets and then reselling them for a large or quick profit, is an issue in Australia and around the world. So much so, the UK government is banning it. This comes after a heap of big artists signed an open letter to the Prime Minister, urging the government to put a cap on the price of second-hand tickets. Under the new laws, resellers like Viagogo and StubHub won't be able to resell tickets for more than the original cost, apart from an added service fee. Platforms will be legally obligated to monitor and enforce the new regulations, and businesses who break the rules could face penalties of up to 10% of their global revenue.
New laws with that would definitely help, especially because I know in the UK there's been tickets that have gone for like $3,000 for just concerts, like for a few hours.
I think like secondhand tickets is it's going to end up shady. Once you add laws in, like people will always find a way to get around it to make the most money.
They should put those laws on, and I think they should bring them here as well.
In a statement, a spokesperson from Viagogo said while they acknowledge the UK government's announcement, evidence shows price caps have repeatedly failed fans. In countries like Ireland and Australia, fraud rates are nearly 4 times higher than the UK, as price caps push consumers towards unregulated sites. And while it's true we do have price caps in some parts of Australia, our laws and policing around ticket scalping are pretty different. Here, there's currently no overarching national legislation to address ticket scalping, so it's up to states and territories to regulate. In New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia and Queensland, it's illegal to resell a ticket for more than 10% above the original cost. But between these states, the laws vary depending on the size and nature of events. On top of this, Australian legislation generally targets individuals, unlike the UK legislation, which will target platforms.
I think that you shouldn't be able to resell tickets for any more than like 10-15% more than the original price, because then it's just getting a bit ridiculous.
I reckon you should sell it for about 25% at the max. That's probably the most I'd resell mine for.
But do price caps stamp out scalping? When we reached out to Ticketek, a spokesperson said the platform has voluntarily implemented a face value resale cap, which means only reselling tickets for their original price. They say price caps are broadly effective, but the main challenge is actually enforcing the law, particularly with resale platforms outside of Australia. They also said consistent legislation across the country would be helpful, making it fair and less confusing for fans. And you don't have to look too far to find examples of people getting around the current laws. Last year, more than 500 people were involved in a campaign to use bots to buy and scalp Fred Again tickets. Original tickets for the shows were at most $179.90, but tickets were listed for resale on Facebook Marketplace between $300 and $400. And in 2023, VIP packages for Taylor Swift's Eras tour, which cost a maximum of $1,200, were found on resale platforms for more than $3,000 each.
All right, ready?
Take it away.
I'm Kane.
I'm Sarah.
And we're Sunsick
Daisy.
That was great. Sunsick Daisy is a band out of Adelaide. who have recently performed on some pretty big Aussie festival lineups.
I think overall the Australian music scene is really good.
Do you think ticket scalping is a problem in Australia?
Massively. Yeah, ticket scalping is just such a horrible thing in a time where it's like just not sustainable to live off of a normal wage. It just makes people just like pay way more than they should, and that gets in the way of real, genuine fans to be able to see the band they love.
There needs to be so much more crackdown on things like bots and just like automatically buying as many tickets as you possibly can, as you know, in as short a time span as possible.
Kane and Sarah support the new laws in the UK and say the impacts of ticket scalping are widespread and undermine both the work of the artists and the passion of the fans.
I think it's fair enough that they want to put a cap on reselling, because if you do it enough times, if you realise, oh, I can make a bit of money from this, I think you're scum of the earth. If you do that just to make a profit, that's horrible. I think that's really unfair to the artists and everyone involved in putting on that show, because they get none of it.
I think scalping happening at big events certainly taints people's views on buying tickets and even just going to shows in general. And often it's a very common thing where people will not go to a smaller artist show because they're like, ooh, I just paid $400 to go and see Dua Lipa, and I can't afford that. Like, I'm gonna stop spending money on going to see live music.
In a statement, a spokesperson from the ACCC, which is the body that looks into reports of scalping, highlighted that while each state has their own laws around this, there are requirements for ticket resellers to make it clear they are resale platforms. They are also prohibited from engaging in misleading conduct, and it's important to keep in mind that event organisers often have their own reselling platforms to minimise ticket scalping behaviour. And ultimately, we need to be aware of the spaces we're in when we're looking for tickets, and the lengths we're going to for live entertainment.
I bought tickets from Ticketek. They have their own resale thing, which is quite good because they're all confirmed tickets. And I think that you should only be able to sell them if it's confirmed.
Having trusted reselling companies is probably a good way to do it, rather than just individuals doing it, so that you know that it's secure and you know that you're not getting scammed or anything.
If you have to resell a ticket, I think the goal should be to make the money back from the ticket so that you haven't lost anything, and I don't think you should be gaining anything either.